How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I am joined by my co-host, Drew Johnson. We are coming to you just minutes after the Mavs pulled off a 104-101 road win over the Los Angeles Lakers. It was a lot closer down the stretch than what it should have been. I mean, the Mavs were up 20 points at one point in the fourth quarter. And LeBron James led a furious comeback. Austin Reeves hit some big shots. You know, the Mavs halfway through the fourth quarter only had 2 points. So it was almost an epic collapse by the Mavs. And they actually did give up the lead in the final minute.
Briefly.
They were down 2 points with about a little over 20 seconds remaining. And Luka drove into the lane, found Kyrie Irving for a wide open three on the left wing, and he nailed it. It was very similar to that shot that Maxi Kleber hit to give the Mavs the win over the Lakers last season. So, you know, a really clutch three by Kyrie. Then they come back down the court. LeBron tries to throw a pass into the post. Luka tips it. And shout out to Ran Holmes as well. He was in there on that as well, and they got the stop. Kyrie Irving hit a couple more free throws, and then LeBron, with 2.8 seconds left, misses a corner three as the Mavs win 104-101. So, there is a lot to unpack with this one. It was the Mavs' 8th clutch game of the season. They're now 7-1 in clutch games, which, after having a league-high tying 29 clutch losses last season, that's a really positive sign. This was the Mavs, just their second win against a team with a winning record so far this season. So, I mean, obviously, you can't control your schedule. You can only play who's in front of you, but, you know, they've done a good job so far. They're 10-5. They took care of business on the road tonight ahead of Thanksgiving. So, DJ, what are your initial thoughts on the game tonight? What did you like? What did you not like about that fourth quarter?
Well, for the fourth quarter. So the fourth quarter in particular, there was more to dislike than to like, in my opinion. I mean, guys, we were up 20. You know, we were up 20, and they came back and actually took the lead. And, you know, we have to be better defensively down the stretch. And I know that when people like LeBron get going, like specifically a top 3 player all time, they're very difficult to stop, if not impossible. I understand that. But it's the other people that we have to be concerned about. Like, for instance, we can't let Austin Reeves determine the outcome of a game. I mean, he's a good player, but that shouldn't be happening. And we let him do way too much in that final period. Now, I will say this. We showed the reason why we have won so many clutch games this year, and that's Luka and Kyrie Irving.
Easy as that. Simple as that.
We have 2 guys on our squad that are better than everyone else in the crunch. I mean, that's just point blank period what the deal is. And we just had more firepower down the stretch, like literally last second firepower. So, you know,
they definitely shine. Luka finished with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. And then Kyrie had 28 points himself, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and he also had 2 steals. Now, Luka, he didn't shoot the ball well. He was 10 of 26 on the night, only 3 of 12 from 3. But Kyrie Irving, he was 11 of 22, and he hit 4 of his 8 threes. So, you know, Luka ended up with more points, more rebounds, more assists, but Kyrie was the more efficient star on this night. And shout out to Luka for finding Kyrie for that all-important go-ahead three in the final seconds of the game. That was that shows how much growth this duo has had. You know,
it's
especially compared to what they did at the end of last year.
Yeah, like just the team in general, it's a night and day scenario as far as growth is concerned. And, you know, I know that I've been bitching about our defensive meltdown, but it really says a lot about a team when you can still find a way to win, even in the midst
Mental.
of a meltdown. Yeah, I mean, it's all mental toughness. It's all mental toughness. And, these are things that we have not exhibited in years past that we are right now. So, I mean, it's these characteristics that are going to carry us come playoff time. So there's a lot to be excited about there, but I would rather us not put ourselves in these predicaments, period.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I mean, whenever you're dealing with the best players in the world, obviously it's going to be hyper competitive. Things like this are going to happen. And what matters is who wins at the end. So, and we found a way to win, and that's all that matters.
And I just want to give a brief update here. So in the third quarter, Derek Lively went down with an injury. At the time, he wasn't putting any pressure, any weight on his leg. We thought it might have been a leg or a foot injury or something like that. The Mavs said it was a lower back contusion, and he didn't return to the game. But, according to Mark Stein, he just tweeted this out a few minutes ago. He said, Derek Lively is walking under his own power near the Mavericks locker room and insists, and his quote says, "I'm fine." So that is a great thing to hear from Lively there. It looked like a scary situation at the time, with him not putting any weight on it. Your mind automatically starts going to the darkest place. Like, oh, well, was it an ACL? Was break something in his foot? You start thinking some really dark stuff. So that's a good sign. Hopefully he doesn't miss too much time. The Mavs have 2 days off before they take on the Clippers. They don't have to travel, so they're staying in LA, and then they'll take on the Clippers on Saturday. So we'll see if he can be good to go for that game. If not, it sounds like it's not something that's going to keep him out for too many games. So that's really good. Now, branching off of that, even before Lively got hurt, there was a move that Jason Kidd made in this game that I was a big fan of. There's been a lot of people have made a big fuss over, how Dwight Powell's defensive numbers have been atrocious this year, especially combining with Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench. Now, Hardaway, he kind of makes up for it in a way because he's just a microwave scorer off the bench. Even if he doesn't play, he gives effort on defense, but even with his shortcomings there, he'll put up 18 to 20 points a night, and he can make up for it. Powell, not so much. And I like the move by Jason Kidd to make Ran Holmes the first big off the bench tonight. And Powell probably wouldn't have even played if Lively hadn't gotten hurt. And he gave some good minutes tonight. Ran Holmes did. And, he's not necessarily known as being a rim protector, but he's long. I mean, he's long, and he got tonight, he had 4 points. He had 10 rebounds, 1 block, 1 assist, was a +3 in 23 minutes off the bench. I mean, that's doable. I mean, that's something that you want from a backup big. I mean, he's got that little push shot thing going that most centers don't have. I mean, I really liked that move from Jason Kidd. What do you think about Ran Holmes' contributions tonight after mostly not playing this season?
I think that Ran Holmes brings value to that backup center position, and that he knows exactly what his role is, and that's just to be the junkyard dog in the middle, clean up all the messes, get all the rebounds, contest everything, bump everyone. He's just big, he's physical, he's active down there. He's not going to win games for you, but he's going to influence winning. And that's really what you want to look for in a backup center, is how much do we honestly lose off the bench? And, you're giving up a lot of size going from Lively to Holmes, but he's more physical. And I think that he brings his own dynamic to the game whenever he checks in. So, I liked it today. I really did.
People forget, how good he actually was in Sacramento before the Kings got Sabonis. Like, after they got Sabonis, he was buried on the bench and hardly got to play. And I mean, I get it. Sabonis is definitely the better player.
He's very good.
But he's very good. But, Holmes is decent himself. So, I'm glad he got a chance to go in there early and show how he can contribute to this team. Because he's not the perfect center. He's probably going to give up some points here and there. but he's longer than Dwight Powell is, and you need that. And I look, before this game, I joked because we saw what Christian Wood said about how he was looking forward to going against the guys, his former team and everything. And I kind of joked where our guy Kirk Henderson with Mavs Moneyball, he was kind of taking jabs at Christian Wood, saying, "Oh, well, every fourth game Christian Wood can say this because he's been on, a fourth of the league's teams throughout his career." And I was saying, it's pretty funny. We can take jabs while simultaneously acknowledging that Wood might take it to Dwight Powell tonight. And Powell didn't play early, and most of Wood's minutes were matched up with Holmes, and Holmes shut him down. Wood couldn't do anything tonight. Wood ended up playing after talking all that trash. Ended up playing 15 minutes off the bench, went 0 of 1 from the field, and was a negative 15 in those 15 minutes. So, yeah, that's kind of an embarrassing way to back up what you said before the game.
Wood has always struggled against physicality, and I really like that matchup of Holmes versus Wood. Just given the physicality of Holmes, I think he bothered him tremendously. He made him not even want to play, really. I mean, you saw he didn't really have that many attempts, period. So, and he didn't make that much of an impact because I think Holmes came out and hit him in the mouth early. So, that makes a difference.
That length, the wingspan just makes a huge. I've always said that if Dwight Powell's arms were like 3 inches longer, the whole dynamic of his career would be different. The trajectory of his career would be different than what it's been. And he's already carved out a pretty decent career for himself as a backup center, and he started a bunch too. But if he had a little bit more length, he to match that effort he gives, it'd be something. But really love the move by Jason Kidd to give Holmes a chance. The Mavs needed it, especially with Lively going down. You have another big body in there, a veteran presence, down the stretch to help. Holmes was in there with Luka on that last turnover. LeBron tried to pass it into the paint. Luka got the tip, but part of that was on Holmes having a big body down there too that ended up with the Mavs getting the turnover. So really like that move by J Kidd. Now, one move I didn't like from J Kidd, and honestly, given Grant Williams' defensive what's the word, reputation, I kind of understand why he stuck with Williams down the stretch, but LeBron was just torching Williams. It didn't matter how good of defense Williams played on the perimeter. LeBron was hitting threes, or he was getting the switch onto Kyrie or somebody else that was a mismatch. So since Williams wasn't having, that defensive impact in that fourth quarter, and he was only 2 of 9 shooting threes. That's all he did was shoot threes tonight, and he was 2 of 9. So given the fact that he was 2 of 9, only had 6 points, was a -7, the defense wasn't really making a difference. I personally thought that Josh Green should have finished out that game instead of Williams, because Green he's been struggling pretty much the whole season, but he got back on track in previous games. He's shown some life. This one was the same way. 22 minutes off the bench, had 15 points, 6 of 10 shooting overall. Hit 3 of his 6 threes, had 3 rebounds and an assist, and he was a +10 in those 22 minutes. So look, if if you're not gonna have a defensive impact like we've seen Williams do a handful of times this season, if LeBron is just having one of those LeBron type of nights, even though he's 38 years old, he's defying father time with what he's doing. I kind of would have liked to see Josh Green finish out this game, because if Luka or Kyrie get doubled and you have to swing it to the corner, I had more faith in Green hitting those big shots down the stretch than I would have with Williams. So that's my only gripe about the lineup stuff down the stretch. What do you think about, the Williams versus Green stuff tonight?
I get where Kidd's coming from going with Williams down the stretch. And the reality is this: LeBron was going to torch whoever the hell was in front of him tonight. Once that guy gets going, he's just impossible. He's just one of those guys, man. Like, there's certain people in the league that once they get going, it does not matter what you put in front of them. You are not stopping them. We have 2 of them on our team that can do that. So, I mean, it didn't matter. Like, you could put Jesus Christ on him and it would not have mattered. He was still going to go for 20 in that quarter. Like, but offensively,
he's leading the league in fourth quarter. 38 years. He's about to turn 39, and he's leading the league in fourth quarter scoring this season. Just crazy stuff from LeBron James.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's one of the all-time greats for a reason. He's probably got the best longevity of any player in NBA history.
Maybe sports.
Really, yeah, maybe sports, and it's between him and Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, yeah,
for sure. I don't know. That'll be a discussion for another day, but but from an offensive perspective, like, once we realize that no matter what you do, LeBron's going to get his, we need to start looking at, okay, how can we improve ourselves offensively? And I'm with you there. I think that we do need to go with Green down the stretch at that point, because he was playing well today. And I think it would have done a lot for his confidence moving forward in the season if we would have gone with him. But I'm just going to tell you, as a coach, it's hard to make that call. It's hard to make the call to take out your defensive stopper. Even if he's getting beat, it's hard to make that call down the stretch. It really is.
Well,
so I get both sides.
Yeah, and I mean, look, one thing that could have helped the Mavs avoid giving up that 20-point lead, they ended up winning. It's great. They showed mental fortitude and all that good stuff and came out with a clutch win, but it never should have gotten to that point. And after 2 or 3 misses from deep, they should have drove the ball. They should have gotten in the paint and tried to get something easy, get fouled, something of that nature. Don't just keep shooting threes, because you're basically, if you're cold, that's basically a turnover. I mean, you're giving the Lakers opportunity after opportunity. Off a missed 3, it's a transition opportunity for the Lakers, so they get easy points.
Yep.
I mean, that's the one thing that that Kid is probably going to talk to them about tonight. Like, hey, if we miss a couple, don't just settle for the 3. Grant Williams had a couple wide open threes, but he was so wide open, he could have drove down the baseline and potentially gotten fouled or got an easy layup or something. So that's the thing. They only shot 32% from 3. They shot 53s to the Lakers 29 threes. And they were 16 of 50 on the night. And surprisingly, despite the Lakers having Anthony Davis, who had 14 rebounds in this one, only scored 10 points, but the Mavs only lost the rebounding battle 51-48. Now, the points in the paint, Lakers had 52 and the Mavs had 36. But again, that's because the Mavs shot 53 pointers.
Exactly. So down the stretch, I agree with you. And that's something that I was going to also bring up. Down the stretch, we have to have better shot selection. Whenever you are struggling shooting the ball late in the game and your legs are gone, you need easy opportunities. And I'm not just talking about layups. I'm talking about free throws. And how do we get free throws? We attack the rim. So, we have to have the maturity and the discipline to understand when we need to try and get a high percentage look, or when we need to try to get to the line. We need to quit just bailing teams out with a 3, because eventually it's going to come back to bite us in the ass.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, it's really incredible how, and I told you this before we jumped on this podcast, I was like, it's like the Mavs are just trying to give me a heart attack this season, because when stuff like tonight happens, it like triggers some PTSD from last year, because this was 110% a game the Mavs would have choked last year. They would not have won this game at the end of last season. Now, I know they had that one exception where, Maxi Kleba hit a crazy shot at the buzzer to beat the Lakers last year, but that wasn't the same situation as, the Mavs blowing a 20-point lead and, stuff. If the Mavs had blown a 20-point lead last year, they would not have had the mental fortitude to stick with it and still pull out the win. They probably would have ended up losing by like 5+ points. So, This is something that I think the team can build on. Not every win is going to be pretty. Sometimes you have to win ugly. I mean, it's an 82 game season. The Lakers, they're not a good offensive team as we saw tonight, aside from LeBron just going crazy. But they're a good defensive team overall. They're like 13th in the league, so they're a little bit better than average defensively. And over the last stretch of games that coming into this game, the Lakers had won 6 out of 7 games, and they were one of the top defensive teams in the league during that stretch. So this is a quality win for the Mavs. They're now 10-5 on the year. We're gonna. I think all the games have finished tonight. Let me go to the standings real quick. Yeah, all the games have finished tonight. So the Mavs, they are currently 10-5. So they're tied with Denver at 10-5. Denver is the 3rd seed just because of the head-to-head matchup that they won over the Mavs. So the Mavs are 4th, and then right behind them are the Phoenix Suns and the Sacramento Kings. So the Mavs are staying in there. They're staying in that top 4. If they had a couple more games go their way, they'd be right there with OKC and Minnesota. Dang, who saw that coming into this season? The Timberwolves, the 1st seed so far in the West, and the OKC Thunder, the 2nd seed. Whoo, the West is crazy, but
dude, Ant-Man is so good. Oh my God.
Oh my God, Anthony Edwards, and you saw it coming with how he was playing for Team USA over the summer. You knew he was bound to have a big leap, and man, he has been crazy good for the Timberwolves. And I got to hand it to Rudy Gobert too. I mean, I didn't know how that was going to work after how last season went, but they've stuck with it, and they've made it work now. I mean, we saw it in the preseason games the Mavs played against the Timberwolves. It was a really tough matchup for the Mavs, and I know it's preseason, but I don't look forward to when the Mavs play. The Timberwolves.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, man. I mean, I don't know. Anthony Edwards is another one of those kids, though, that once he gets going, there's nothing you can do. I mean,
they've just got really, really good balance. They got good guard play. They got Anthony Edwards. You got the veteran Mike Conley, kind of running the show. And then you have the front court of Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. It's just a good combination. And look, they've been doing this mostly without your guy. What's the McDaniels?
Yeah, he's hurt.
he's getting back into action now too, so they're really going to be scary. But just looking ahead to the Mavs schedule here, they have 2 days off. So they had 2 days off before this game against the Lakers. Have 2 more games off to enjoy Thanksgiving, and then they'll play the Clippers in LA to finish this 2-game road trip on Saturday. And then they'll have another 2 days off. So a lot of rest here for the Mavs that couldn't have come at a better time because their schedule had been crazy hectic up until this point. And then they'll go home for their longest homestand of the season so far, 3 games. They'll play the Rockets, the Grizzlies, and then the OKC Thunder. So I think this next game against the Clippers is very winnable. I think they match up well with them. They didn't have a hard time beating them the last time they played them, even after that James Harden trade. So I think there's a very good chance the Mavs could tack on 3 wins before you get to that OKC matchup. That's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard matchup at home, but we'll just have to see how it goes. But man, I'm encouraged by how they didn't blow it tonight, because I was really just, like I said, I had PTSD to how some of those games ended last season. But Luka, he made some timely buckets, made the most important pass to Kyrie to essentially seal the game. Got the turnover. Kyrie hit some clutch free throws, and then LeBron misses at the buzzer, and the Mavs get their 10th win of the season. So we'll see. We'll see how they do in these next couple games. I don't know if I've mentioned this with you on here in the last couple of pods, but the most the Mavs have been over 500 all of last season was 6 games. They can't get to that 7 games over 500 mark. So that's something that I'm going to keep track of as the season goes on. If they beat the Clippers on Saturday, can they beat the struggling Houston Rockets to finally get 7 games over 500?
Shit, I hope so, because they're terrible.
We'll just have to see. I mean, maybe maybe they can take it to Dillon Brooks. The Grizzlies got the best of the Mavs last season when the Mavs were hurt. Kyrie Irving had that plantar fasciitis, and Luka missed those 2 games at the end of the season against the Grizzlies. And, Dillon Brooks was talking so much crap, and they ended up beating the Mavs twice at the end of that season. So we'll see how it goes. I feel like Kyrie has Luka too, but especially Kyrie. I think he has a little something in store for Dillon Brooks the next time he plays him.
Dude, every team has something in store for Dillon Brooks. That dude talks so much shit. Like everyone, I mean,
and look,
shut up, dude.
And look, he is annoying as hell. I mean, I can't even I can't even start to explain how annoying he is, but I have to tip my hat to him. He's shooting like over 50% from 3 this year, which is not something I saw coming. He still has time to regress over the course of an 82-game season, but he is shooting lights out right now.
I'll say this, dude. Like in college, Dillon Brooks was that guy. Like he was good. I mean, he was Pac-12 Player of the Year. So, I mean, you go back and I sent you that highlight reel of him with freaking 3 doors down playing in the background. I was like, I don't know why this slaps.
That was perfect.
It's so funny. It's so good. I mean, he was actually good at Oregon. So, I mean, the guy can actually play. I know he's a dumbass, but the guy can actually play. So, I mean, there has to be some respect there, but he does need to keep his mouth shut.
Well, we'll see how it goes on Saturday when the Mavs play the Clippers, and then we'll shift our focus to, the Rockets and the Grizzlies. Speaking of the Rockets, they had lost 3 in a row. They finally got back on track with a win here recently, but they're not the 6-3 team that started this season. So we'll see if the Mavs can continue to handle business. But you can't overlook the Clippers. I mean, I know they match up well with them, but Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, you gotta pay attention to them. So
yeah, they're too talented. If they ever do figure it out, which I mean, I'm not sure that they will, but if they ever do figure it out, watch out. I mean, they could score a lot of points. So
they've got the star power, but they've kind of gutted their depth to get there. So we'll see how.
I don't know how well they're going to actually gel together, man. I'm really not sure, but who knows.
I do like the addition of Daniel Tice for them, though. He the Pacers ended up letting him go, and then he signed with the Clippers. I think that's going to be a good addition for them. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. We'll have to see. They've dug themselves into a hole. They're in that 10th spot in the West right now. But guys, overall, there's good stuff. Mavs get their 10th win of the season. They end a 2-game losing streak. They had lost 3 out of 4 coming into tonight's game against the Lakers. Lots of good stuff to build on here. It wasn't their best game, but like I said, you have to win ugly, and that's what they did tonight. So, guys, we appreciate y'all coming in here and listening to us for another episode of Mavs Step Back Podcast. Say hello to Mavs Cat. If you're watching on YouTube, you see the Mavs Cat on the screen.
This one doesn't have as good of an attitude, but
Well, Mavs Cat never really had a good attitude. You've seen the screaming cat videos I've posted on Twitter, haven't you? I mean, I haven't posted them in a while because one of them got me suspended one time because of like copyright on the song. But anyway, and guys, before we take off here, I almost forgot. But we have a jersey giveaway to announce here. We haven't done a podcast giveaway in a while, and I said if the Mavs won, we were going to give away a Kyrie Irving jersey. So hold on just a second. We're doing this completely random here.
Right.
Okay, so for the Kyrie Irving jersey giveaway, I've randomly selected from my Twitter followers. And I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right. I am so sorry if I butcher your name here. But Krishna Videntam. Krishna Videntam. God, I butchered that. I know I did. But anyway. at KrishV5198 on Twitter. Shout out to you. You have won a Mavs Kyrie Irving jersey. I will DM you on Twitter. We will make sure you get that that jersey after he hit the clutch shot to give the Mavs the win over the Lakers tonight. So thanks, guys. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Give us all the likes, comments, all that good stuff. And tell us what you think about Mavs Cat in those comments as well. We'll
Just so
see you
y'all know,
guys.
she loves this.
We'll see y'all next time.
Say bye.